Happy New Year to everybody. Looking forward to getting into our prep here. Important game for us, NFC North, another home game to try to stack another win. Go ahead.
Kevin, how's JJ dealing with his hand, and what's the plan for him practice-wise today?
Yeah, we got him. He got out there with the trainers yesterday and had a really positive kind of throwing session. So he's going to take part in practice today. See how he feels coming out of it. See if there's any restrictions or any issues before working into another day tomorrow. But we're at the point now after his positive day yesterday, getting on the field today for practice, and we'll see how it goes.
Do you expect him to be a full participant today in practice?
I don't know if he'll take every single rep, but he'll definitely take. The plan as of right now is to give him as much as possible, just so we can determine where he's at today.
If JJ can play, what do you think he can gain from this game?
JJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just getting to that 10th start, and with some of the stuff he's been able to do, thinking back to the Dallas game, moving the team in the first half of the Giants game and Commanders game. I mean, there's just been a ton of stuff during this win streak has been about stacking plays, stacking for our team, just positives of complementary football, and finding a way to win, by any means necessary every single game. And that's credit the players. That's what they've done. And JJ's been a huge part of that, and his continued, really looking at starts 7, 8, and 9, and would love to get him another one. But obviously only if he's medically cleared and can 100% do his job.
Jim, what have you thought of what Jay Ward has given you in recent?
Yeah, I've tried to mention it as many times as I can. I think he's brought a level of physicality that has shown up throughout the year in the kicking game. He's been a pretty dynamic player for us in all four phases. But, you've just felt him stepping into that role and having opportunities around the line of scrimmage. He seems to be around a lot of those negative or 0-yard runs. He's showing up from the second level and just a really good tackler. Football, an easy mover within the confines of football movements where he can show up very rapidly but, come to balance and consistently make tackles, which I think during this stretch, where our defense has played really well, I think tackling has been a huge part of it, keeping a check down to Jahmyr Gibbs to a 2-yard gain. And it might be Murph making that tackle. Zay, when some of the plays where he's maybe coming off the edge on a corner pressure and it's a run play and he's shedding a block and making a play. There's been examples of all 11 guys on our team tackling well, and Jay has definitely been a part of that through this stretch.
With Justin Jefferson so close to 1,000 yards, just how much of a priority will that be on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, he's a priority for us every week, but this is our last opportunity, so we want to try to get him involved as much as we can.
Kevin, yesterday, Matt Daniels was just talking about how sort of special the season has been for Will Reichard.
Yeah.
I guess, how would you describe what he's meant to this team this year?
There's just been, it's not just making the kicks. There's been so many kicks in some big moments that sometimes, whether it is an end of game, trying to extend a lead like last week, or the 1150-plus yard kicks, it's becoming normal to see guys, certain kickers in this league go out there and make it look easy, and Will's definitely one of those guys. But you go back to the opener, and we, are scuffling on offense in the first half. JJ makes a great throw to Speedy, and we're able to kick that long field goal to just get a little bit of momentum in that fight for momentum throughout every NFL game, that the ebbs and flows happen when your kicker can go out there and you can pretty much lock it in that you're going to get 3 points. Even the kick at Lambeau, the long one at the end of the half. My confidence in him is supreme. It couldn't be higher, and he's earned that, to have the expectation of not only myself but Matt and everybody on our football team that he's going to go out there and do his job. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, you mentioned your confidence in him very early in his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
Really started to stand out to you. Was it his mechanics? Was it his demeanor? What about him? That right away?
Yeah, I think it's definitely he's a physically talented, gifted kicker, and we've known that from the first day he got here, Matt and DG evaluating him through the process, and just it's the way it sounds coming off his foot. It's the consistency of his stroke. But there's got to be a mindset there to meet the moment. We've got a lot of players like that on our team that are able to do that. But his ability to meet that moment when the kickers it's such a hard job. One kick, they got to come off the sideline, and they're asked to basically be a critical factor in the game every single time they go out to do their job. And with the new dynamic kickoff rules, like it's become, there's not a swing a kicker takes anymore that just, it rarely matters. It really does not matter. Even when you're like end of game, hey, we're going to kick it out of the back of the end zone and not allow a team to get a return, like that still requires the hitting it pure and executing in those moments. Or maybe it's some of those times we've asked them to hit some unique kicks and try to land it differently in the landing zone, try to throw off the returner, see if we can possibly win 10 or 15 yards of field position. He's done that. And Ryan Wright, too, to that point, has been a massive part of field position all season long.
Are we going to try to get Gavin Bartholomew into this game? Is this more just to kind of get him into practice?
Yeah, he got to a point where, he was healthy enough to start practicing, and the second that happened, it kind of coincided with the last 3 weeks of the season. It'll always be a conversation, each week, the guys that are kind of in that return to play world, but we'll work through that. But Gavin's done a really nice job, and it's just been good to see him get back out there and make some plays on the scout team, going through Coach Ange's individual drills. We're stealing time that, in the old days you might not necessarily would have had, that I think is going to serve him a ton on the back end.
Was he injured in the rookie camp?
I believe the initial kind of start of it was towards the end of the off-season program, but then might have tweaked it a little bit more in his preparation for the season, and then we were able to kind of get a full evaluation and determine what was best for him.
Is there anything, not regrets, is there anything as you look toward the sunsetting of the season, sort of, if not for X, we might be having a different conversation?
Yeah, I mean, there's certain plays you can look at within several games. There's things that absolutely it starts with me. I will look first and foremost at myself. That's managing the team, how we prepare, when we were able to handle some of the unique parts of the season well, when we were not, play calling, all those things. Like that's part of what the end of the season's for, right? We won 14 games a year ago and lost in our opportunity in the playoffs to continue our season, and it was the same thing then, and it'll continue to be like that. The consistency of being a self-evaluator and looking inward first is, I know I say it quite a bit, but it's a real thing for me just because I have so much faith and confidence in our players and coaches to do the same, and that's what's important for me to do more so than anybody. But we'll have plenty of time for that and the big picture thinking. But to me, this is a very important week for our team and our organization against a team that I know matters to our fans. It matters to them. And we've got an opportunity to have an NFC North game at US Bank Stadium we don't take lightly against a team that's going to be in the playoffs, and getting to 4-2 in the division, getting back above 500. There's a lot of things that mean a lot to us about this game.
You talked a little bit about winning in December and why that's important. What is it about December football that requires something different, or what is it about that feels more validating to you as a coach?
Yeah, I think all the games you've had time, right? In many instances, whether if you're a young player, you might be just stepping into the realm of playing longer than you've ever played in your life. If you're a veteran player, you know how to navigate the season, and hopefully you can be at your best, even though you've maybe played a lot of snaps as a guy that's played a lot of football. Or I think it tells you a lot about your organization, and not only just the players and the coaches, but the support staff, the trainers, the strength coaches, everybody involved. Especially it can be easier some years than others. Like last year, we needed to continue to win to keep pace to try to have a chance to win our division and possibly be the 1 seed, or a season like this where it's very easy for it to maybe go the other way. But as I told our players, like, this has been an example of what the best part of this organization is, and it doesn't always equal, what the original goal or intent was. But sometimes that's when you find out a lot about yourself, maybe more so in these moments. And I think our players deserve all the credit for not only meeting the moment of what is required on a daily basis, but continuing to stack those days here when, the motivation of what could be to come is no longer there for us.
What have you seen from Michael Jurgen in his year 1 to 2 development and how he's handled some big opportunities?
Yeah, I think Jurgs has stepped in, and I think this year has been about him playing with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more physicality, and I think he's demonstrated that. We've been able to, when he's been in there, we've been able to run the football. We've been able to, do some things on those early downs, and then, with some young quarterbacks playing behind him, he's been able to run the show and kind of learn a lot, I think, from Ryan Kelly and what Ryan brings to the table, both in the meeting room and on the field. And the center has a lot of responsibilities in the run and pass game for us, and working with the quarterback to try to make things right up front. I've been really happy with his growth, and like you said, stepping in some moments where we've really needed him, and seeing a lot of positive things.
Kevin, I don't know if Malik Willis is going to play or not, but you were talking about him the other day.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what you see now from him in terms of just his growth. Like, he got in a little bit with Tennessee, and then last year, and now kind of doing everything.
Yeah, I think you see his field vision, seeing it and throwing it has, clearly last Saturday. I mean, that, he's making some pretty high-level throws with accuracy in the pocket. And then you also always have known about Malik. He's got, kind of very high-level creativity and his ability to avoid negatives and be a problem through the echo of the whistle, whether he's running the ball, getting in space and keeping his eyes up and finding those guys downfield. And they all probably, Jordan, has a lot of those characteristics too, where he can extend plays. So it's kind of ingrained in the fabric of how they play that when Malik gets out, those players know how to uncover. They know how to space out within whatever the concept was. And now the second play starts, and there's a lot of big plays happening there. I think Malik has done a really nice job for him.